Welcome to this video where I'll be showing you how to set up Weld. Weld is an ETL tool that can pull information on behalf of the user and store it in a data warehouse. First, I'll show you how to log in with Google. This is a very normal flow. You just select your account, then you'll be taken directly to the app. From here, we want to create a workspace. The workspace can be called testing, and then just press create account. That's already used, so Christian testing. And then we need to set up a data warehouse. This can be done very easily by using a service account, and I'll just be dropping my credentials here and then pressing connect. And that's it. Now we are in Weld and we're ready to go. We have set it up with Google BigQuery, and that's the first step. Next up, I'll show you how to create a connector. This connector is to Google Analytics, one of the scopes that we're using. As said before, we are an ELT tool, so we're setting up a connection to pull data out. And I'll select my account here. This is the data that Google wants to be synchronizing. And you can see the full URL up here. And I will also just show you here. Just for ease, this is the full URL that we are redirecting to. Once I say that's great, everything, then I'll press allow. And it sends me back, and now I have this Google Analytics connection. All right, once we have set up the connection, we can set up the synchronization of data. This will pull data from Google Analytics and store it in the data warehouse that we set up earlier. In this case, BigQuery. We'll select Analytics. We'll select the account of Weld because that's the one I have put data in it. Select add contents and add costs. And then we'll select add which campaign. This is what we want to synchronize data. We want to set it up to synchronize every 5 minutes. We want it to start from the 1st of February. And we don't want to exclude any columns and don't hash any columns. Once we have created this, we can start the sync, and that will then start pulling data into our data warehouse. It stores it under the Google Analytics datasets, and then it will create a new AdWords campaigns database filled with this data. All right, following that, I'll show you how to set up sheets. We also support Google Sheets in our extract load transform tool. I'll just set it up as Google Sheets. This will take us to the login screen for Google. I'll select my own account. This is the URL you can see. I'll look it up here. And I'll just show you in large as well. So this is the URL that we're using. And I'll allow it. And it will take me back to Weld. And now you can see there's a Google Sheets connector that you can use. Following the same recipe as before, we want to now set up the sheet sync. I want to use my test sheet. Then I want to select a named range. This is to show what part of the sheets document we want to synchronize into database. I'll select the users, and then I'll select columns as my dimensions. And I'll use the first row as column names. And again, I want to set up to sync every 5 minutes. Don't want to exclude any of this, and then I'll just create the sync. Same way as before, I can just start it, and that will create a new database, a data set in the data warehouse, and make a database called users in it. Not least, we also support Google Ads. Again, I'll go through the motion of logging in. I'll select my account. And again, you can see we're just asking for the scope that is used for Google Ads. You can see the URL up here, and I'll just show it in big as well, so you can inspect it better. And yeah, the privacy policy, as you can see, it points to Weld, and the same for the terms and service. I'll press allow to allow this to allow access to Google Ads on behalf of Weld. Now we have it connected to Google Ads. And as I've just shown you before, I will also start a sync now towards our Google Ads account that I just set up. Choose Google Ads. This one is a bit slower in the initial startup. It fetches the accounts that I can sync, and here I will select Weld Broad. It then fetches the different reports that we can sync, and I'll just select all of them. And I'll do this every 30 minutes. And yeah, again, I have to select the start dates. I will select it as the 1st of February. And then again, I don't want to exclude any columns or hash columns. This is mostly used when we're synchronizing user databases. But in this case, we're just synchronizing ads data, and that's fine. Then I'm taking back to the screen here, and then I can start it. And as you can see, there's more databases being synced here. And at the end here, I just want to show you that now that we have run, you can see we synchronized one item. In my test sheet, there was only one item, but basically this tells the user that now the data is ready for consumption in their data warehouse. And that is the extent of what we're using these scopes for, is just to pull data out of whatever tool that the user might need to analyze, and then put it into the data warehouse, supporting different warehouses, Google BigQuery, Snowflake, etc. And as you can see, 5 minutes later, we're starting another one here. So that's the extent of the use for these scopes.